Hey guys, how's it going? Today I wanted to speak about the subject of the more we communicate, the less we really say. What does that mean? Well, if you really think about it, people have specific ideas. They are born in specific cultures. People are born in families that will give you ideas, religion, political views, ideas of the world, how they're supposed to be according to whatever the beliefs of that culture is, be it for relationships, be it for the world. And what's funny is that even though we try to communicate different beliefs and different ways of thinking, we don't really listen as a human being because we have preset ideas. And they've made studies where people are having an argument, let's say. And when they have that argument, the person is actually, one of the people is actually saying something that is completely logical, and the other person who doesn't accept that idea just doesn't accept it. They don't want to listen. And the more the person explains the logical situation to the person who is thinking illogically about the subject, the less that person is listening. Which kind of means in some way that even though we may be hearing sometimes the right things, we do not want to change our mind because we have a preset idea on what it is. And it's only until something traumatic or something that hurts us happens that we finally say, hey, actually, this is how it should be. Now, I don't know what we're trying to communicate, but I think it just happens in general, be it with political views, be it with eating habits. I know people who, for example, have diabetes, and the doctor will say, well, if you don't change your eating habits, you're going to be in trouble. You will have problems. But the people will say, okay, I'll change my eating habits, but no, 7 times out of 10, the person will not change their eating habits. They'll say yes, 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 kind of doze off when the person is speaking to you, the doctor, in this particular situation, and then they'll just go on and keep on doing the same things that they have kept on doing since the beginning of their life, and then they get more sick. So it's really, really hard for people to communicate with each other because we have these preset ideas. And it comes even further, if you really think about it, when they've made another study, for example, where they say that we don't really look. We're not really watching the world around us. We kind of, I guess as kids, started perceiving the world in one way or the other. And with time, especially if you always live in the same neighborhood and stuff like that, you tend to not really look around. Everything looks the same because you kind of know your pattern. You more or less know your direction. So having to look more left, more right, more at this house, less at this house, you don't really realize. And a way to actually make you understand what I'm trying to say is, haven't you ever noticed that whenever you go to a new country or a new place, you tend to interact with people more, or you tend to have these new experiences and really cool things, and you say, wow, this is an awesome place. But then you'll have the same thing if some tourist comes to your area. They're going to start communicating more with people, and they're going to see things that you've never seen and have a cool little experience. So sometimes it kind of proves that you don't really need to go very far in order to find something cool to do or a new experience to have. It's just that we are set in our ways, and by being set in a certain way, you're not able to communicate that new thing in your brain. It just doesn't register. And that's how they create, in some way, subliminal things in marketing and in commercials and stuff like that, because we're used to seeing things in a certain way, and with time it just gets accepted by the society because the adults grow up, the kids, they have a fresh eye when they see these things, so they think, okay, well, maybe the adults don't like something, but we like it. And it's happened many, many times with music, for example, where they would say that rock and roll is the devil's music and stuff like that, but then the kids love it because they are listening to it with a new ear, and they're not just saying, oh, this is noise, they're giving it a chance. And maybe also because they've heard it all their life, and they are able to communicate these sounds in their brain, whereas a lot of times older people, they shut themselves down. They say, well, I've lived all my life this way, why would I have to change? Why would there have to be something new? But I say, why not? We're ever evolving, and as long as I'm alive, I want to be evolving, so I want to be able to communicate. But definitely it's very hard to communicate stuff, and I think that's why, for example, if there's a big movie coming out in movie theaters, they have to put advertisement a little bit everywhere for months and months and months, especially if the movie is expensive, or especially if the movie is bad and expensive, because they need to somehow subliminally get that into the brain of the person, communicate it somehow, and let that person understand that this is it, that there is something to be said, there is something to be taught, and it becomes part of the society. And it's really strange that we've gotten into that real pattern of not being able to perceive stuff or new stuff, or even in order to communicate it, because it doesn't make sense, again, if somebody is telling you a truth, but you're so obsessed, you are so set in your way of thinking that all you can do is that person communicates to you, and the more that person tells you something, the less you are listening to that person, and you're just set in your way because you don't want to be wrong. That's where we have to kind of let our guard down and maybe accept that sometimes we can be wrong. And it's hard because I guess in our society too, we've really set it in our way that we got to save face, that we don't want to be humiliated, we don't want to be wrong. It's not okay to make mistakes, whereas I think it is okay to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And it's really prevalent in American society and just Western society in general, where the jocks and the people who can show off more the exterior are actually the ones that are able to survive, and the people that are able to strive. That's why we have celebrity presidents, celebrity congressmen, celebrity people like just ruling our world, and we give more importance to those people who aren't necessarily really smart, and we give them that importance by putting them on TV and for people to idolize and admire their way of being, and then people start imitating that way of being, which is probably not correct because the bad things are being communicated to us since we were kids. But anyways, that's our society in a nutshell. Have a good day. Talk to you soon, and hope you enjoyed my talk.